Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you're tuning in. It's your girl Choose here, and we just wanted to hop right into this story. So, apparently, they have arrested the person of interest in the murder of CEO of UnitedHealthCare, Brian Thompson. So I believe it was on Friday that they found the backpack with the jacket and some Monopoly money in it. And on Monday, I know there was a search for the weapon. But the update is he is in custody. So let's just take a quick look back.
The search for the person of interest who police say shot and killed UnitedHealthCare CEO Brian Thompson continues this Monday morning. This as NYPD dive teams spent the weekend looking for the gun used to kill Thompson. The scene right near the iconic Bethesda fountain here in Central Park. Police say that weapon is critical to the investigation because with it, detectives can potentially find out where it was purchased and who owned it. For now, police say the lack of concrete evidence is why they're referring to the man seen in these surveillance photos as a person of interest. On Friday, police discovered a backpack they believe belonged to that man. They say in it, a jacket was found. However, sources tell CBS News that it wasn't the one worn during the shooting. Fake Monopoly money was also found in the bag, but no gun.
And that's where we were over the weekend. There were pictures released. He was in a cab, and now it looks like they have arrested him. And he's currently in custody. And of course, everyone is saying that his fatal mistake was taking that mask off at some point in a Starbucks. So, also in the taxi. So they actually, I remember the reward was $10,000. Someone added 50, so there was a total of a $60,000 reward. We know that he fled on foot, then rode a bike, and they found the backpack in Central Park, and they enlisted help from everywhere. So now he's in custody. There was a statement made, and I'll put the links below for the statements. But here we're looking at the doors, I guess, of where he was taken into custody. He's identified as Luigi.
Cause. This kid, I think, is driven by either he got injured and wasn't treated fairly in his mind by UnitedHealthCare or someone close to him. And so I think that's the reason you see him so calm, cool, collected, casual, even to a certain extent, at the scene, the way he shoots, the way he rifles back the weapon so it continued to fire. And then he casually walks off. And then the picture is caught of him around New York. He doesn't look distressed about anything. And the reason why is he believes what he did is just.
Well, and so let me ask you about some of this evidence right now. Again, things are currently playing out right in Pennsylvania. So, Brad, how do authorities string together the evidence that they have right now and try to, connect it to this crime in New York, the murder of Brian Thompson?
So let's start with a firearm. Assuming that the firearm that he had on his person today is the same weapon, that can ballistically be easily matched up. They have the shell casings. So they're just going to have to test fire that. And that'll be one piece that links him to the gun to the crime scene. There was apparently a partial or smudged fingerprint. You would need, by both fingerprint examiners would need 6 points of reference to say this is a person's fingerprint. We'll have to see if, in fact, that matches.
And just as you were talking, everybody, there's the driver's license now. It was just put up on the screen. Can we bring that back up again, please, so that we can get a good look at it? Aaron Katersky was able to get this. Here's this fake ID, right? It's a New Jersey ID. They believe this was used at the hostel. You can see this is a picture of this young man with the name Rosario, Mark Rosario. I want to bring in ABC's Rena Roy quickly as well for more on this. And Rena, you've been covering the story here from the beginning. So now that we have a look at this ID here, how does that add to the litany of evidence that authorities are trying to use right now?
Yeah, well, as we know, they've recovered multiple items that have connected Mangione potentially to this crime, the ghost gun, the ID, as you mentioned. And now they're really trying to get a better understanding of why he did this. They were combing through that 3-page handwritten document as well that they found on him, really to get a better sense of his motive here. NYPD officers also going to Altoona, as we know, to talk to him themselves. Their other main focus is trying to figure out how he was able to stay pretty much under the radar for 6 days. We know that the NYPD did not have his name until this morning when they were tipped off. They are now working on tracing his steps backwards from Altoona to New York City to determine how exactly he got there. Last they saw him was on cameras at a bus terminal here in Manhattan shortly after the shooting, heading out of the city.
And Brian, can you sort of take us inside the mind of a prosecutor right now and tell us how they would be stringing together some of this alleged evidence, and how important is trying to come up with a motive in this moment?
So from a standpoint of a prosecutor, a motive is important, but it's not an element of a crime, so they'll try to get it, but I think they'll have a pretty good job or a pretty light job of doing that because of that kind of 3-page manifesto. The way that I typically think about it is probably the opposite of how a prosecutor thinks about it, but in my mind, there are two different people. There's the shooter and the person that was arrested. And for a prosecutor, what they're trying to do is make those two people one and the same. And the way you do that is the shooter used a specific gun. Was that gun or evidence on that gun connected to the person you arrested? We've heard information about a bag being found, Monopoly money, the 3 shell casings that said delay, deny, and defend, and they couldn't attach any potential DNA of those items to anyone because this person, at least that they arrested, doesn't have a criminal record. But now they have a source of DNA that they can compare and contrast it to. And so they'll try to take these two entities and take the information between them and try to make them one, saying it's one and the same person that committed these crimes and was arrested.
So that's the update, and now that he's in custody, I find the comments rather disgusting, some of them that is actually cheering this man on for taking a life. I definitely do not agree with that. I think that is really disgusting, and it's very disheartening and sad to know that this is a place that some of us have come to where we will cheer for someone to take a life when they haven't taken anyone else's life, or it's sad. But I wanted to bring that update, and we will continue seeing what's going on with this story. And until next time, sending love and light.